Good morning, guys. How y'all doing today? It's Friday. Today's going to be such a great day. That's what I believe. At least intentionally, I'm going to have a great day. Why don't you guys join me outside for a bit? Such a beautiful morning. I think it'll. Hey, y'all. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let's see. I never ever mess with this down here. Let me see what's up with you guys. I don't know how or I never even see you guys. I think what I be seeing is the what's those called? The top messages. That's what I be seeing. I see that now. But today, it went into something different on my channel. Here we go. Welcome, guys, to Home is Where the Heart Is. And I have decided to wrap up this week what we've been talking about all week, which has been the car life, van life, minivan life community. And I got so many tips and suggestions that's come through um, people who has been in their car 6 months plus. Something I really have really found particularly funny is that all the car lifers, their vehicles are always older vehicles. They're like from, uh, I would say 2015 down. No models. I definitely haven't seen no models since 2020 on the road or off road. And what I find is these people um, are a different kind of people. They're community type of people, but yet they are um, a lot of lone wolves, a lot of people who like figuring things out for themselves, a lot of people who play by their own rules, a lot of people who um, are sort of explorers, people like me that's, either have been rejected or maybe have been disappointed in people. Um, and though they I see a cardinal. Though they have did you guys know that the red cardinal is the guy and the orange one is the girl? I found that out when I was feeding them this past summer. Anyway, because the girl would come and then the guy come scooting his little self. Like, did you make dinner? Go ahead and knock some of those seeds from that feeder. Anyway, uh, these are freedom seekers who also, you know, uh, they're community people, but they just like people that are real, and they just really like they like to be able to not have to put a fence up for privacy. So, yeah, I've gotten to know, at least through, just watching through different channels, the type of people. And I really have a very big fondness for them. I feel like I have so much in common with them. And I have a lot that I'm going over from this past week. And then I'm moving on to this grandmother who had her tiny home taken to her, who was a part of the Eaton Fires, remember in 2025, in January. And actually, what happened is one of the firefighters, you know how a person do stuff one way, they do it the same. They do it the same every way. Well, one of the firefighters had donated his tiny home that he was taking back to that neighborhood to her that November, and she was supposed to be getting hers in January. So he switched out with her so she could spend her first Christmas there. She lost her husband 2 years earlier. It was her story that moved me to tiny homes, and once I saw her story, um, they sorta linked it to other stories. So, like I was telling you guys how the Lord was saying that I wasn't supposed to be moving past the cars, at least right away. Um, I said that's where he had me there at that moment. But I see I'm segueing into tiny homes. And so that is so extraordinary because it's really um it was really exciting to see. You'll see this older woman, 88 years old, and she had lost her husband. She loved her husband so much that she was saying that she was so happy that he didn't have to experience the fires because he took so much pride in their home. And she was thinking about him even after losing everything. She was thinking about him and how all the neighbors, they are getting tiny homes and moving it back on their properties over there and salvaging what they can in that community. How these neighbors have known each other over 50 years. They have watched each other kids grow up, and sometimes the children living in the houses that they left to them, and then the neighbors sort of being guardians over those children and their children. And you can just go to a neighbor's house and ask them if they could watch your cat or your dog, or watch out for the house while you're on vacation. This kind of community that has been sort of like frozen in time a little bit. So I have a news clip from that, from the Eaton Fires and some of the people in that community as that was taking place. And then I'd like to sit and watch her today as a guest. And so, but before then, I'm going to talk to you guys about what we have been able to go over this week and all the tips that would come to the car lifers, minivan lifers, SUV lifers, the dog tips, the staying cool in your vehicle tips, cooking tips, the stealth parking tips, the where to park tips, everything we went over, not just this week, I apologize, but the big standout points from the past couple of weeks. Not saying that I'm not gonna be staying on, van life at all because, like I said, I really resonate with these people. That's why I say, that this is a home is where the heart is, because I saw one van lifer that was, saying that, he don't like when people call him homeless because he's not homeless. His vehicle is his home and how much he had invested in his vehicle. And then a lady was saying how she don't like how people be like trying to donate stuff to her or act like she is um I turned that arrow on thinking that I would be uh warm when I came back in here, but I got my sweater on and it was a little chilly out there, a little chillier because it is pretty early. But she don't like when people act like it's something wrong with um how she's living or trying to donate to her or anything. And she's like, she chooses a certain kind of way, they get offended. So that's why we say home is where the heart is. Let's fix this here like I usually would have it. So the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm talking all loud because I had that where I had the air on. I have the fan running all the time because my son's autistic and he likes to feel that vibration all the time. So you can imagine I got a high bill, but it's for his comfort. But I had the air part on, and so back to what I was saying. I have this news clip here from I have this news clip here from when the fires had taken place, and everybody remember how hard it was to contain this here big old fire and how awful it was out there in California and how they was trying to get funding and everything. And that's when the Gavin Newsom thing came up and he got very big on the scene or whatever. That was in January of 2025. And so we're going to go there and listen from some of the neighbors. And when I say the neighbors, of course, it's a big community of multi-billionaires. A lot of celebrities stayed in that area. Um, but a lot of people knew each other, of course, on the same streets, but also because a lot of people were celebrities and in-laws and different stuff, they also knew each other throughout the community. They had their own pharmacy they went to, they had their own. That's why when you hear any of them talking, even from back then, be like, oh, our pharmacy, oh, our bank, oh, our post office. It's just like they was all in it. Something like I believe like Augusta, Georgia, because Augusta, Georgia is a nice size, but it's sort of slow and sort of fast. Like Alabama, it's more, they, grow their own fruit, vegetables, really, really hometown. Everybody pretty much know everybody and like that, really community orientated um, and in a beautiful, slow way, not slow like, like bad, slow like beautiful. And Atlanta has become like they have a really big culture there. They have gotten to the point where they are like really, really like uh they call them the Black Hollywood. And at one time I would have said they reminded me of Detroit, but they've gotten a lot more which is my hometown. Hey. But they've gotten really a lot more culture, like the good eats, they're really, really, um, I would say more polished, more fast paced, more everything's happening type thing place there. But this is like more like Augusta, where it's like easy living and stuff going on, I would believe, but except for millionaires, that's all. Ain't out, but it's a lot of millionaires here because of Masters and James Brown, his home was where a lot of millionaires and stuff was. But anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of that news clip, and then when I come back, before I get into her, I'm going to finish these from this week. Okay? I have a universal remote. I just can't even find it. I mean, the programming part of it.
It's heartbreaking.
Frustrated residents impacted by the fire are concerned following a report showing thousands of homes still standing remain unsafe due to dangerous toxins and poisonous chemicals. They claim the initial cleanup was not satisfactory and they're now demanding elected officials take action. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang is live in Altadena with some details. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, yes, we're here in Altadena, where many residents say they do not feel safe to go back in their homes, even though remediation efforts have taken place in many cases. You can see the signs here. There was a news conference just a short while ago that's wrapping up. They're saying clearance before occupancy. I want to bring in Don Fanning. Talk to me about what this message
They went
is.
too
Yeah,
far.
okay,
They went too
before
far. I didn't cue
occupancy.
this right. I want to go back a little bit. Okay. Not that far back though. Mm-hmm. Let's start from the beginning. I should say, come on. And then we'll move on.
For occupancy.
It's only a couple of minutes that I'm going to take up of this here that I want to, you guys to sort of see how the community was talking. Here we go.
We lost our homes. We lost everything that we had. To lose your neighbors, um, some individuals that you didn't know, but there's someone that you know that knew them or is a part of that family. It's heartbreaking.
Frustrated residents impacted by the fire are concerned following a report showing thousands of homes still standing remain unsafe due to dangerous toxins and poisonous chemicals. They claim the initial cleanup was not satisfactory and they're now demanding elected officials
Okay.
take action. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang is live in Altadena with some details.
I
Hi,
basically wanted to show where they was talking about
I guess we're
showing the community aftermath of how the community look and how they was talking about the neighbors as if they was like family and everybody that you hear at that time would be talking about the community like it was a family and and these people are actually redoing their land, even getting toxins out. For every home that was $6 million, it would take a $500 million just to clean that particular property, is what I was hearing in one of the news broadcasts as I was playing it along. But that's how much they feel. See, it was hard for them to get insurance for uh, a lot of places. So they paid primo insurance. So anyway, before I show the grandmother that was able to get her tiny home delivered, just this one, and then I'll be going into the other ones as we go, starting next week. We're going into those, and not only that, also going into other people who have saved up from living in their vehicle or from homelessness and getting a tiny home. They say that the tiny homes, you could live a luxurious lifestyle in a tiny home for the same price that you would take for a mortgage on the inner city of a bad area. How much cheaper it is to get a tiny home, brand new, made specifically for you, which I know is a lot more further down the line than what I've been speaking of. But I'm not going to just stop speaking about that. I'm also going to stay on this, but I'm going to be moving as I'm led. So I'm not going to say what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be moving as I'm led. So I want to talk about the biggest things that we went through this week. For anybody who didn't see, I don't want to go back into the people, takes a little bit too much time, but the toddler potty chair is good for inside of a vehicle, or if you're about to be camping out or traveling. They're a little small, but they are adjustable and they're collapsible and they are plenty good to be used in a vehicle. And that's perfect for storage purposes, and you don't need no no kind of system outside of a bags for them, and they come up under them when you first buy them. Okay. Also, having a fake wallet, one that you would have your throwaway gift cards when you finish using the gift cards. That's what I'm going to do for my giveaway. I'm going to buy a gift card and send the money through there through Cash App or whatever. So I won't have to use my real information or whatever, my Zelle, no, nothing like that. I'm going to buy a Visa gift card and send the money like that. But, um, this would be good if you have throwaway gift cards or if you have old receipts, have that readily available in your pocket for a bad area or when you're traveling or whatever, and then have your real wallet either in your sock or readily available for when you do need it. Also business cards or something like that that you don't use in that. Also, rain guards as ventilation on your windows so that the condensation as your park doesn't show. Um, Also, something else that I haven't brought up any of the shows is to have your alarm systems and stuff on silent where they just flicker maybe, or maybe not your alarm system, but you know how you turn on a car and it make a doop boop sound or whatever. You might want to have that on silent, and there's a way you can do that. So that if you have to get up to turn on the air or whatever and you're parked stealthily, you don't want that to go off, right? Also, a lot of the starting off stuff, such as the different generators, the portable um power packs and stuff. They have those at the thrift stores. And me personally, I personally wouldn't buy linen from thrift store myself because of a problem I had when I was living downtown that had acquired from living there was a bug problem, and how hard it was to get rid of, and how I I was just appalled, but after that, I'm like, "No," both spiritually and, uh, you know, but I wouldn't buy a pillow from a thrift store or nothing because you just don't know myself, and so I have to put that along, but, as I'm talking about the electronic stuff, and most anything that you need for your vehicle starting off. Also, something for your bugs and rodents, the same is peppermint oil in a little tiny spray bottle. So you put peppermint oil and water in a spray bottle, and they get rid of it's preventative for mice and bugs. And also it smells good. Not to mention the young man was talking about sealing up different holes that you have around your camper or your van or whatever, or your so it's called trailer. You seal them up with that adhesive stuff that gets hard that you squeeze out of the thing. And then also they have those go you should look back on uh I believe it was Wednesday's show, this Wednesday. But anyway, they have those scouring pads that look like a copper color. Well, it's a certain kind you get that doesn't rust. Well, you're supposed to get that kind if you don't have the stuff to squeeze. You can just fill in the holes like that so they can't squirrel their way through, or put them inside of the um, gray water tank and white water tank, clear water tank thing. Also, the truck drivers was complaining about people parking in their spots at the truck stops because they don't have anywhere else to park, and how, they have to have a certain amount of rest in order to get to their next stop, and they don't have nowhere else to park when the cars do have another place to park. So they was complaining about that. And I had a young lady on here this past week who was talking about how she was very upset. She had got to a depressed type of state and her mental health was being affected. So she got herself a dog and then she started looking at the figures from working the um what's that called? Graveyard shift for for Amazon, Flex, Walmart Spark, DoorDash, and how much money she was making, able to pay her taxes, put money to the side. She was making such good money. It encouraged her heart. And you should check her out. And she was talking to those who was pushed into the lifestyle based on their rent or whatever. And with the price of gas going up, it's so disheartening for me because a lot of people who had been pushed into living in their car because of rent displacement or whatever, it's sort of overwhelming, promoting the lifestyle when I know how much gas is. And, you know, as I'm feeling led to move further on and feeling encouraged about tiny homes, I really believe that that has a lot to do with it because, it's so hard to be fake and then try to act like everything is cool or hunky dory in some instances. Now, it's some people who are parked in the desert, there's some people who are parked at a person at a loved one's house or in their backyard or have somewhere to park regularly and they can walk to the stores they want. They don't have to move at a certain time of the day. They can do all their work from their vehicle. But for those who have to actually move and their job isn't paying as much as their gas, that's another story. And, you know, um, I imagine going further and further, it will be more discouraging talks about that. And of course, I'm not going to not play those. So anyway, moving on. Um, the part that a lot of people do feel good about is the healing, the forgiving, the independence, the um radical acceptance of their own selves and their own habits, the figuring their own things out or whatever. And some people prefer to work from. A lot of people are working as influencers who are on the car path. Now, me myself, who the Lord is moving me towards getting monetization, because he's showing me different things about the future that I need to be informed about and how, I'm moving towards trying to get monetization. I have changed my whole life around and it's because at the Lord's, I don't use his name in vain. I totally believe in I don't believe in karma, but I totally believe in using the Lord's name in vain is blasphemy. I fear the Lord, not like I think he's just going to hurt me or nothing, but I know better to disrespect him and use his name in vain or act like he said something he didn't say. I do fear the Lord. I know there is a God because how he's shown up in my life. So I'm not going to be saying, and I don't even know how people can say that he has moved them or said something or made something known to them, and that's not true. I know that he is the one who's giving me my health on a daily basis, let things go good or bad in my life, turn his head for me and everything. So I'm not going to just say that just so it can sound good, so we can make it look a certain way. Because I'd much rather just say, I know it's about that time because either way it go, it doesn't matter, as far as I'm not trying to please nobody. I mean, it would be just as effective with me saying, "Look, I know it's about that time for me to try to start, get my, try to get some money, and now I'm moving in more in that direction than just being online." That ain't nothing. Don't sound bad. That sounds reasonable. I'm saying what it is because that's exactly how it is. The Lord is leading me to do this in exactly the way that I'm going. And he's showing my path. He shows me everything. He's the one who leads me in every direction that I should go. When I make a right turn, when I stop, everything. He had me trained like the like well, I ain't gonna say like those songs, but like when my son was little, he's autistic. So if I tell him, all I gotta say is that, and he will stop on a dime. And I had to teach him that because he don't know what's around him or what. If he ain't understand nothing else, he had to understand. Look, when I say stop, you stop and you look at me and follow my directions from there. He could just look at my eyes and tell, is it danger? Is it stay right there? Is it what? Move slowly towards me or whatever. But that's how I move when the Lord tells me to move. And so that's what that exactly what that is. But and moving like as he's leading me to be moved, a lot of people are going in the way of influencer, um as I am trying to, not influencer, I wouldn't call myself that, but I would say being monetized on YouTube. That has always been my dream, of course, but I wanted to do it through my skits because I was having fun. I'm like, have fun, make money while I'm having fun. But it didn't get crucial until, not crucial because God's going to take care of me, but it didn't get to where God is leading me to do it until here now. And so I know that there's something ahead for him to be preparing me in this way. But in saying all that, the people who are in their vehicle, some people are making really good money as YouTubers. I mean, they make money in 2 to 3 months. I've been on here 3 years trying to make money. But this is the second time where I'm going. The first time was in 2024, but I was really just on TikTok mainly and just posting some of the stuff here, you know. But now I was moved to come here. So anyway, so there is money to be made in being an influencer in the car lifestyle. Um, so it's not like, and then also people give them products as well. So Overlander is for where a lot of people, that app is for a lot of people who find free parking, free camping parking for the people who are looking for somewhere to park. And throughout the episodes, I have given influencers, people who are in their car, many places to park. I mean, throughout the past couple of weeks, there has been at least 30 places that's been stated of where to park. So if you are so inclined to check those episodes out, you will find different creative places that you haven't even thought of places to park. And so, moving on, I would like for you guys to meet this grandmother who I felt so encouraged by. In my description of today's show on my show from yesterday. I put it in description box about today's show, and I promised that you would not leave the show the same as you came. And that's on all of my shows. If you are the kind of person who can get moved by other people's stories or motivated by motivation, if you're not just set to be in a negative mood and starting off your day, I've always felt, why be eye candy when you can be soul food? And that's what we're doing here today. We producing soul food, and this is a good way to start your day. Is to see that there are good people in the world. There are motivating stories. Miracles have not stopped happening, and nobody is in a position. more of a position and for that to happen, um, that is prayed up than you. I mean, if God can do it for her, he can do it for you. If he can do anything for anybody else, he can do it for you. We all have to just put ourselves in each in position and be prayed up and follow his lead. With that said, let's move. Here we go. Here she is. Now she's gonna take over for a little while. And I'm gonna stop yapping. Yes, it is possible. I can stop yapping. Here she is. Look at her. Her husband was together over 50 years. I'll let her tell her own story. My home is in Altadena, California, which has come to the fore recently because in January 7th, 2025, we had the Eaton Fire, and the Eaton Fire destroyed most of my hometown. 8,000 structures were burned. So that was a dramatic event, and that was what displaced me. When I got the evacuation notice to leave, I didn't want to go at first. I mean, I just did not believe it. I mean, when I saw my neighbors leaving, I thought, well, I got to go. I just took the cat's things, my medicines, and my purse. That's all I took. And that's when I hit the firestorm. And it was pretty dramatic. I mean, there were thousands of pieces of embers flying through the air at 100 miles an hour, landing everywhere and starting fires. There was no way that they could have fought it. No way. It took us some time to realize that your home was gone. I mean, it just didn't seem possible. I lived in the home 57 years, so it was quite an experience to be suddenly without my home and without, all my possessions. My husband had passed in 23. He would have been more upset by it than I was because he loved his home and this was paradise for him. So I'm very grateful that he did not have to experience the loss. It took me a while to even want to go to the property. 6 months I didn't go. I didn't want to see it, in its current state. After about 6 months, I decided I have to make some decisions about how I'm going to get back to my lot in Altadena. And then I discovered online that there were tiny homes. So I was fascinated by that. So I did some research and I found clever tiny homes. It was scheduled to be delivered January of 2026. But then something happened. I was informed that there was a retired firefighter, and his model was to be delivered in late November. So he volunteered to switch with me in order for me to get back to my home sooner. Oh, it's like, sweet. Wow, that's fantastic. So I want to express my gratitude to him and his family. And so I was able then to complete the site prep, get the proper permits from LA County and all of that, and they delivered the tiny home. And here I am living my new life in my home location in Altadena. I can't even describe what it's like to go through this horrific event and then the wonderful help that you get from other people. I mean, my husband's ashes were still at the site. Another volunteer organization came sniffer dogs when they were able to get some of the ashes, which I now enter not review, which was very comforting. So I'm very grateful to all the volunteers who went to the site and tried to salvage things. I'm so grateful to all my family and my friends, my neighbors, and it's still going on. People are helping people all the time. Moving to the tiny home was a mystery, I tried to mimic my other home in ways that would be comfortable. I wanted to make a nest basically because I felt like a
person that had been shot out of a gun somewhere ended up in some foreign place, and I just wanted creature comfort that I was familiar with, and I've done that. But the living room, I knew exactly what to do, and I did it. I made my coffee table because I always make one of these. It's a basket that I purchased, and then my favorite glass shop made the top for me, and then I put a handle on it so I can put my throws and pillows in there,
Mhm.
and it's perfect. And I like the buffet because it's
Oh, that's
has
beautiful.
doors and it's like an entertainment center. My big splurge was the couch. I had the couch custom made to fit. I'm used to having friends for tea and community meetings, sometimes with groups, and I wanted to be able to see 6 people. And so I can, and then I have an extra chair and 2 extra stools. So I can have a little committee meeting, which I wanted to be able to do, no problem. That was my concern, that my lifestyle would be somehow impacted living in the living room of a tiny home, and it is not. I wanted to use this space for my office because I use the office a lot, and my computer's here, my radio, and my I have 2 printers. I have my office files down underneath. It functions very well, and I love it. And this cabinet under here is where I store my office supplies, and it's very functional. And, I didn't think I could have an office, but I do, and I love it. I love having an office space. The deciding factor really after
Her.
my research was the construction and the design and the engineering that went into the clever tiny home was so impressive. Everyone said, "You don't want to move back now because they're constructing all around." I said, "No, I want to get back as soon as possible." And here I am in my tiny home. There's caterpillar noise, there's construction noise on 3 sides. I'm in here, I fear nothing. So
It's soundproof.
everything I imagined that they would. It makes me so happy and so
Look at
comfortable.
her
I
husband
do want to say
overlooking the house.
the emotional healing that I'm getting
The
by
picture of
moving
her husband.
I cannot tell you. I mean, the minute I moved here on December 1st, I was back home. Even my cat Nina has had a whole different.
She got it going on. I guess she do feel good.
So Nina and I are much happier.
Oh my goodness.
My kitchen is really one of my favorite places because it's so me and it's so exactly the way I want it. It has little serving things here
Mhm.
when you're eating. It has the plates here. It has the knife rack here. It has my bread box. It has my setup for morning coffee. And most of all, I can have my terrariums. I didn't think I would have a place for them, but I do. And I love my
Mhm.
terrarium and they get plenty of light there. The wonderful dishwasher is here. I didn't opt for the oven because I either use the cooktop or the microwave. The microwave is
Oh,
fabulous.
that's
Built
lovely.
in. As far as cooking at 88, I don't do a lot of cooking. My
88.
caregiver makes breakfast every morning for me. She leaves at noon. I also, as a fire victim, am getting free Meals on Wheels.
Free Meals on Wheels.
I couldn't believe it. So I'm pretty well not cooking.
What I love about this is how she's been able to start over, how her life didn't have to end because of her going into a new chapter a couple of times. Her husband passed away, and after having so many years together, can you imagine? Now, this is a husband and wife who became everything, well, was everything to each other. Their community meant everything all the time he put into helping to build. He wasn't like he was just some millionaire and they just got he had a silver spoon handed to him in his mouth or whatever. They built this as time went on. He put a lot of his own hands work in there, saved a lot of money, bought the land. They got to know neighbors over years time. And after he passed away, she was able to move on, but then got displaced, and all these people come together and um they show the concern that she don't go homeless, that she can be in her community again where she know people and the rest of her days can be lived out in comfort. Don't we want that for our grandparents? Don't we want that for our parents that they could live in comfort all the rest of the days of their lives? And that she was able to have her first Christmas there even sooner because a firefighter of all the firefighters was risking their life every day. You can imagine how fast he wanted to get back in his house. But he was able to, firefighters are real heroes. People who go into those fields as doctors, as uh firefighters, they really go into those fields because they want to save lives. They want to be a service to their community. They want the camaraderie of other people who want to do that. And it's not over. I mean, it's not gone. That's not over. These things still exist in our world, in America. It still exists. You know, People who are noble and and all that stuff. It still exists. And I have a scripture going to Matthew 10 and 20. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father, which speaketh in you. And when, God isn't standing in the middle of the street yelling, hey, help your neighbors. Hey, y'all come and do this so people know that I'm still working. Hey, uh, put that on the news so they saw that miracle. No, he speaks through us, not just through our mouths, but through our actions, even when people aren't watching, what they see being produced, they don't even have to see us, none. But they'll see an improvement here. They'll see no trash buildup here. They'll see cleanliness around our space here. They'll see our children and how our children act. They'll see um how my son's walking to the garbage can, and I always watch him, and he walking to the garbage can and he got two bags and two Hawaiian punch things where he don't let the trash build up. Me too. I like it. I love it. But and this older guy, he has a cane and he's walking to the trash, and he puts his bags down, my son, and he's like, "Can I get that for you?" I was surprised myself. And the older guy's like, he had pride or whatever. He was like, no, 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 no. Go on, go on. Oh, no. And so um I was going out there, I was seeing if he was just trying to say hi or what, but he was just fanning at it. And I'm like, Larry, come on, go ahead and put this stuff. And as I was like, can I get that for you? It's like I asked him. I'm like, oh, that's what you was asking him? He's like, yeah. He said, no, 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 go, go, go. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. He looking like I got it. What you mean? Can I help y'all? But it's through our children, even the people who stay in their cars, how their children are being raised and how uh I saw this one couple, they had a big old school bus they had did all this work in, whatever, and how well their children was adapted to people just coming in. Their face didn't frown up or nothing. It wasn't like all this stuff. And they just moved out the way so the cameras wouldn't be, I mean, the camera people wouldn't be affected. They knew that, hey, this is open space. We all here together. We all, yeah, there's some camera people here. Y'all didn't know they was coming in, but you see them now. Move over, get off the way. And they just automatically did it. You can tell that they was being raised a certain way to respect people and respect their home and to present themselves a certain way and have all that good stuff. And so, yeah, I really just really love this story. I really love the firefighter who stepped in and did that. And that story is not just being told here. I'm sure many people have told that story to other people. And it really shows and people probably wasn't even surprised when they heard he did that. Because he probably had did so many other things close to that. And maybe everybody in the fire department, who knows? And just because people are rich or better off monetarily, that does not mean that it doesn't count because money cannot buy a lot of that stuff. You cannot buy people to forfeit their comfort for yours. You cannot buy those little getting that poisonous stuff out of there, finding the ashes. Hey, I'm gonna need somebody to find these ashes of my husband. How much is it gonna cost? Like, I'm not going in there. They got all that poisonous fumes. I don't know for miles. But yet they have people volunteering to do it. And her even thinking like that. Look, I know I might not be able to get back in there, but I don't care. First of all, first thing I want to do is salvage my husband's ashes. I want to lay him to rest. Even though we know that the spirit is gone from the body, it's just the fact of, I mean, just think of your body. People think of even putting them own selves, how to bury their own selves. You know your spirit is gonna be gone, but look, you don't want to think of yourself. Sometimes you be thinking to yourself, would I rather be eaten by bugs or burned? Or I mean, you be thinking to yourself, you know your spirit is gone, but still. So of course you're gonna feel like that about your loved one, your husband of all things, or your wife. People die. People supposed to live and die for their partner. You're supposed to trust your mate with your life. When you say I do, that means till death you do you part. That means you become one. That means one person leg go out. Look, I got both of my legs. Well, my arm is out. Well, I got both of my arms. I'm blind. Well, I can see. I can't talk. Well, like that. They they even each other out, and everybody know them. Like, oh, that's Don's wife. That's they know them together. It's there. Ain't nobody trying to step on nobody's toes. Ain't nobody trying to sneak in. All that disrespect and stuff. They can get together with other couples and not try to outdo nobody, and they can talk to each other and not worry about somebody trying to get in and all that nonsense, you know? And yeah, I just really appreciate living, having life more abundantly, the promises of God being shown through through us. Just like he said that he speaks through us. He shows up through us. And a person who's living a good life, they don't have to tell you, they don't have to be telling you, screaming from the rooftop, how you doing today? I'm blessed, highly favored. Something in the Christ Lord and Jesus Christ has kept me all the days of my life. They don't have to go on and rant on. All they have to do is it's in their essence. Good. How you doing? You ain't gonna be all frowned up. Nobody can even talk to you just coming from church. Can't even order no food without getting aggravated. You cussing somebody out in the parking lot and all that extra stuff. I don't even go to church. God can be this is this is my temple, but that's not speaking for everybody. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with going to church. I'm just only simply saying God can be shown. You don't have to be a certain way. He can show up. Do you living right? And yeah. So that is for this week. Um I am really looking forward to having a great weekend. I hope you guys do too. I have to call my insurance company because I've been having a problem with going through them for my transportation. And I had to pay for my own transportation because I had felt the Lord led me to cancel my ride because on the phone when I called them, they was like, okay, well, if when they come, then just go on the app. I'm like, I don't have to go on the app because my Uber always come up on my phone and it shows me who's taking me. It shows me their license plate. It shows me the name. And because I get a certain amount of rides if I'm going to the doctor, pharmacy, or the grocery store. Okay, so they're like, I'm like, I don't have, he is like, oh, okay, well, all right. And then then I was like, I had felt something in my spirit. And I was just like, okay, well, it wasn't no big deal. Then I thought about it. I kept thinking about it. That means that the Lord is moving on me. So I prayed about it. I'm like, Lord, what are you trying to tell me here? Like, is something wrong? What I want you to do is call back and reschedule your ride. So I called back to reschedule my ride. And then instead of usually, now I know this down to a T because I schedule my ride through the computer, preferably than talking to a person. I got my member ID, everything right there. So I call, and instead of the computer going to say, oh, would you like to reschedule? Okay, that's the easiest thing to do. All right, no, they sent me to a person. And when they sent me to a person, the person was asking questions they don't usually ask. Then I really got bothered in my spirit. Then I was just like, okay, well, look, I'm going to reschedule my ride for this at such time. And then so when they sent it to me, then I pushed the thing for it to show me what time or whatever for the ride. So the ride was pushed through. Dang, come on, earrings. These, oh, okay. Put through Lyft instead of Uber. Okay, no problem. But when I went to the Lyft app, Lyft wouldn't let me press to show my ride. And then I thought it was probably because of location. I went to location and they wouldn't let me push my location on or off for a Lyft. Then I was like, really, really, there's something moving in my spirit. And I know y'all probably thinking I'm just being paranoid, but I'm not. I got this down pack. I've been on in United Healthcare for now 4 years. And all my rides going to the pharmacy, going to the doctor. I have to go to the doctor every month. Every month I have to go to the doctor. And I have to get my medications. They come 3 different times out the month. My mother used to pick up my medication for me. But now I do all my medication. I go to the pharmacy each time. Not only do I go to the pharmacy each time, I go to the doctor each time, ride back and forward. So out of all this time, I know what I know. And as you get to know me, if you don't know this about me yet, I'm very meticulous about everything. I have to be that way because so many people for so long try to run different things in order to shoot me down. And for the ones that do that, they don't know that it's not just them, it's other people too. And I can't say all the things because I can't prove all the things. But I will say this because I can prove this because I screenshot everything. If I'm saying it out my mouth, it's because I can prove it. I screenshot where the lift wouldn't let me do it. That's why I'm calling the insurance company this morning. Then when I got the driver here paying on my own money, that's why I wasn't able to tip. That's why I was like, dang, I'm a hypocrite because I'm not able to tip this person. I'm not able to tip going back because I had to borrow money from my son to take the ride. I didn't have no money. And I even overdraw my little account getting a ride because there's too many inconsistencies. And so then when the lady had came, she where it says contact the driver because you don't see them because they only wait 5 minutes. Instead of it saying contact driver, it said too much traffic. I screenshot that. I just so happened to push that because there was nothing else that I could push. So I pushed that, and that's where it said 3 minutes had went by, and she was about to get ready to leave, and she was parked around the corner. I couldn't see where she was parked because it would not allow me to see where she was. Then when I pushed that button, that's when everything came up, showing me where she was. Then she came, and she was talking in Spanish, but I could speak some Spanish too because I teach my son. But I didn't reveal that to her until I got out the car, and then I let her know that I could speak Spanish by speaking Spanish to her. And then she came in, the store that I was in getting my pharmacy. She said she had to go to the bathroom or whatever, but she didn't take my call to return me back home, and she was right there. But anyway, I have to and then that night at 12 o'clock at night, which I can't get no calls to the doctor, to the pharmacy, to at 12 o'clock at night, they said it was a Lyft driver coming here to pick me up. I have it where they had sent me the message, and they even called my phone. It was almost 12 o'clock at night, and I had instead of answering, I just messaged them and said, "I can't go to no pharmacy. I can't go to no doctor's appointment, and I can't go to no store at this time, this hour." They was expecting me to call the app. I mean, call United Healthcare, and when I do call, I have to give them my name, birth date, and address in order for me to go through. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to call them. I'm going to wait and I'm going to call them first thing in the morning. And so that was yesterday morning that I was supposed to call, but I forgot about calling them. But I'm going to call them today. And I said that because the Lord told me this morning, just like He told me about what else to share on here. He told me to start sharing some things at some times as he lead me because it's going to prevent certain things from happening again. But I noticed at that time, at the same time that happened, that my bank account charged me my bank fee while I was on the way to the pharmacy, which made me where I could not overdraft it in order to get back. But then when I got to the pharmacy, they put the feedback onto my card. That's how I made it home without calling my son back. And so everything happened at the very same time. And I only say it because I have proof. Otherwise, it would sound like I'm being paranoid, suspicious, overthinking things, too sensitive, too spiritual, and all that stuff. But I never say stuff that I can't prove because it's been too many people, too many occasions that want me to be crazy so I can go on a Britney Spears thing, some kind of where they had her where she could not Wendy Williams, where she was in some kind of residence and they could take control of your whole life by saying there's something wrong with you. And so that's why I don't speak about certain things unless I have proof. And I always make sure to get proof if it's available to me. But that would also explain a lot of other things that I'm just now told not to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode for the two people that probably watched. You guys have a great weekend. And thank you guys for all of my new subscribers. And thank you guys for joining me today. And Monday, we are going to have a blast. Peace.